Good afternoon, Rootbound followers. This has been our project this past weekend, was working on this kitchen island. Our kitchen is a typical 1970s kitchen with bay window, and we have put in an island in place of where the kitchen table was. We needed more storage, and we also needed to be able to prep our food, which we did not have before. So I'll show you another video of how we have painted everything, but today we're going to talk about the final product of the butcher board. So this right here is our butcher block, and I have looked at several different types of mineral oil. Unless you want it dark, do not get the type that has stain with it. I try to be all natural. And this is as natural as what I could find. This is from Lowe's. It's the Howard brand. It's the cutting board oil, which we will put on now, and then the conditioner, which we will put on after this dries. This right here is pretty thick. It's like 1.5 inches thick. So it has recommended 3 to 4 coats. So I'm gonna put at least 3 coats on, and then I'll do the conditioner for the main seasoning of the cutting board. I do not plan to cut on this. I may work maybe some dough, dumplings. We may eat, with plates, that type thing on it, but mostly it is to put another cutting board on for all of our cutting. I do not want to make cuts and get water and get mold started. So anyway, this is to condition it and to keep it from drying out. And once it dries out, then you're going to put another, some more of the mineral oil on it. This is food grade. Okay, I don't know if you can see this right here. So what you do is pretty simple. You put it on your rag, and then you're going to wipe that on. So you're going to let it dry and then do it again. You're going to do this 3 to 4 times, unless your cutting board is pretty small. And then it's 1 to 2 times that it recommends. So that is it. Follow along. I'll show you a finished view, but this is it for today, and this is the finished kitchen island. These turned out pretty nice too. It's got space for all of our stuff, and then this is 2 cabinets combined. So this was a base cabinet from Lowe's, and this was a smaller cabinet. Sorry, we have toilet paper on our counter. This is our final drawer. We have not put our handlebars on there, but that is it. We did, I'll show you on the side over here. We did have to do beadboard on the side. These cabinets come pretty unfinished. So I want to say we have about $800 into this. I know cost is a factor for a lot of people, but I do feel like this is sturdier than just buying something on Wayfair. If you can find anything from Lowe's, you pretty much have to order it. But just to give you guys a general idea, this was 2 base cabinets. So it's this cabinet and then this cabinet over here. We also had to get a piece of trim to go on the bottom because it was also unfinished. And I do want to say that was one of the most ridiculous parts of the whole project. It was $25. And I'll show you right here. Should have already had this together. $25 for this little tiny piece of trim right here. And that is what ended up going on the bottom. The rest of it was, I'll do a little walk around. This was 1 piece of the beadboard that I put around the whole project. It did require 2 little pieces, and I've got to take that nail out, but it did require 2 little pieces of trim to make it complete. It was just, I think it was like 1.5 inches off on each side, the way that it cuts to complete the project. So the most ridiculous parts of the whole project was not the butcher block. It was about $350 for the butcher block, and I did talk Lowe's into cutting that there, so we did not have to cut that at home. So I got a pretty good cut out of that. But the most ridiculous parts of the whole project expense wise was this right here. which was $25 for a little tiny thin piece of trim. And it was also about $15 for the 2 other pieces of trim that I had to buy. So a total of $60. That was kind of ridiculous from Lowe's for the trim. Other than that, it wasn't too bad. I want to say a total cost of this right here was about $150 and about the same price range for this cabinet right here. So that wasn't too bad. I expected that. I did not expect the $60 for the trim. Also the paint. I did the Valspar kitchen paint. It is different than regular paint. I used it for my kitchen cabinet, so we matched everything the same. But basically for all my kitchen cabinets, I used 1 can of paint. You do not have to prime it. I do recommend sanding it, which it says you do not. I do recommend the sanding it. And it goes on very different than regular paint. I don't know if you guys can see. This is kind of the finish of it, but it's more kind of a glaze feel. So you still get the wood grain feel to it. This was 2 coats. So this didn't take up much at all. But like I said, for the rest of the kitchen, I used like a gallon of paint. And this was kind of like the little bit that was left over from that for this. So it does go a long ways. Don't feel like you have to buy. Sometimes it's hard to find. And I had kind of overbought because I was afraid they were not going to get it anymore, because they said it could be a couple months before they get more. So I had bought a couple of gallons and did not need it because it just goes a long way. It's not regular. It's not regular paint. You don't have to prime, which did make it nice on that. So that was it for our kitchen island. I like the results. I feel like it has added a lot of space in our kitchen that we were needing. For those of you like me that have a 1970s kitchen, we had the round table that was here, but the problem with it was this was our main walkway from the back door into our house. So this is like, we use this more than we use the front door. So the kitchen chairs would get in the way of that, and we were having to do our food prep on the table and then clean the table so that we could eat again. So this kind of solved that problem for us. So about $800 to $1,000 is what you're going to end up spending. If you have a few pieces of trim, you can kind of not have to spend the extra $60. But that was kind of it. It wasn't too bad. We were able to do it in a weekend, and now we are using the Howard oil. And I believe with a military discount, I got both of these and the packs of the terry cloth towels for $23. It was normal, I think, $26. So if you have a military discount, do use that. Don't forget. But I will say the military discount did not work for the Butcher Block countertop. Lowe's is not giving discounts for that for veterans anymore. So just keep that in mind if you are military. Paint it does work for, but wood, like this Butcher Block, it will not work for, or for the trim. So just keep that in mind, but get creative and don't be afraid to try to make your kitchen the way you want it. You can do it on a smaller budget. Bye, guys.